Hello and welcome to Kitterick Farms. We're back with another episode of County of 40 Mile by Camil. And last time we were seeding up here in Field 1 and we were running the lime. We finished up seeding, and so I just brought this Challenger back up to the farm here. We're getting the fertilizer topped off because we're using quite a bit of nitrogen here in putting the seed in here for the wheat. And so it looks like we've got that topped off, and today's plan is actually to get both of these seeders up and running. And so to start out with, we've got the lime spreader out here by fields 4 and 5. And so my thought is I want to finish getting the wheat in, and so we're actually going to put some wheat down here in field 5, I think. Because field 5 is, while a big field, not the biggest field. I think field 4 is a little bit bigger, and so we're going to put canola in fields 2 and 4, our two big fields. And then we're going to put wheat over here so that we can get a good rotation going with seasons. If we look at the crop rotation planner, you can see canola and wheat are good pairs for rotations. They're going to complement each other very well from a yield perspective. And so what we really want to do is get the lime spreading going. Now, I've recorded the refill course off camera here for the lime spreader, so we're going to do this just like we did on the other field, which is get a course play course going here. We're going to do 2 headland passes and pretty much be good to go. Let's go ahead and get in the field here and set him up. Now, the other thing I need to do, I'm going to save this course, and then we need to load up the refill course as well. So this is field 5 lime. And then all we got to do is come in here, find our refill course, and append. We're going to merge the course into the current course. And this guy should get going here. And when he needs to reload, he's going to just come out here and take care of that all by himself. Now, I've had a couple of people recommend that I put together an auto drive course and use auto drive for the refill because it would be more efficient. Then the vehicle would find the nearest auto drive point to jump onto the road rather than coming back to this start point. And I completely agree with you. I think that would be easier. I just haven't done that yet, and so I kind of want to get the lime going today, and so we're going to let that go to start with, and that's something I'm going to look at before next time we need to run a refill course here. But for now, we're going to just live with the course that we've got, and we're going to jump in this Challenger and get it brought out to field 5 here. We've still got a fair amount of wheat in the hoppers here, so we're going to go ahead and keep the Challenger on wheat. And then I think we're going to do is get the Fendt lined up to start putting in some of our canola. Now, I've also had a lot of people messaging me about the size of this seeder and the fact that the Fendt is underpowered for it. And I'm inclined to agree with you if we're looking at real-world mechanics. A lot of people have been watching Mike Mitchell, who is a Canadian farmer. He's got a YouTube channel, and he uses these Bourgault seeders, and he's got a Fendt on one, but his seeder is, I believe, only a 66-foot, 68-foot maybe seeder, where we're running 70-something foot seeders here in game. And so, according to FarmSim, though, this is going to work out. If we jump into the store here real quick and look at it, this is currently rated at 500 horse for this particular seeder. And I think these big Fendts are rated somewhere just north of that. And so if I look at this 1000 series with the big engine, we're at 517. And so realistically, is it underpowered for that big of a seeder? Yeah, I think it probably is. But we're going to give it a shot and see what happens here. We've got pretty flat ground. At least it looks flat. I think once you get into some of this ground, there's some hills in there. So we'll see. It might be pulling kind of hard, but then again, that would also be somewhat realistic. So I think we're going to give it a shot. and see how it goes. And it looks like our lime spreader ran out of lime at just the right moment, but I forgot to set the crop type. And so you've got to come in here to the vehicle specific settings, and we're going to select lime so that it knows what kind of fill to go and actually pick up here. Alright, so while the lime spreader goes and picks up more lime, we can actually go ahead and get started on our headlands here. Thankfully, the lime spreader is a bit wider than the seeder here, and so I think the plan is going to be to tackle these headlands and then set a worker off doing the long rows here on this field. Now, I'm trying to look at this field and see which way the long rows are actually going to be. I'm thinking they're going to be this way, but I don't know. This looks like it might actually be a bit longer here. So maybe this is a headland that I'm doing right now, and the long rows are actually going to be back and forth towards that cliff. My only concerns is I want to make sure we're not turning around in a way that the tractor ends up falling off the edge of the cliff over there. There's some pretty steep cliffs, and so it'll be kind of fun to plant a headland over there and take a look at just how steep the cliffs are over on that side of the map. Alright, so we're coming down the headland here and getting over to this cliff face, and it's just an absolutely enormous valley down here. You've got a bunch of I don't know if you'd call those lakes, I guess. Looks like just a lot of the water runs off into the valley and sits down there in the low spots, so it's quite a cool sight. And then there's a bunch of additional farmland over on the other side of the valley there, up on top of the hills. And so it's just kind of cool to see, you know, all this extra terrain in the middle of the map here. I know it's weird. A lot of times my mind on maps like this, I think about the fact that, you know, it's like, wow, that's just a lot of wasted space. But on the other hand, it's really cool to see, you know, more realistic topography on maps like this. You know, I did a map review for Large H here a week or two ago, and he had kind of the same thing where, you know, he spent a lot of time on the details of the map like this, and it's just really cool to, you know, see map makers, you know, not feeling like they have to use every inch of space. And let's be honest, this is a 4X map, and so, you know, you can afford to spend a little bit of space on the map to just add to the realism, to add to the terrain. And so it's really cool to see this giant valley cut through the middle of the map like this. So very, very impressed with the visuals here. Yeah, but like I was saying, we want to make sure we get a solid headland here, because turning around and falling off of that cliff would be a bad thing. And it's the kind of thing that I feel like Courseplay would definitely do to me. Now, I wasn't paying attention when we turned here, so we're getting off track just a little bit, but we're gonna try and come back up this side. Now, I've got a GPS track on the other side, so I'm gonna turn my lines on just out of curiosity to see where this lines up. And of course, it's not gonna line up perfectly with the edge of this field, so we'll be able to pick that up in subsequent passes, and we'll have to overlap to get caught up, but that's okay. And so we're going to go ahead and do 2 headland passes here. I'm trying to get over just a little bit to make sure I'm not missing any bits alongside the edge of this field. But yeah, I think 2 headland passes is going to be appropriate here for this field. And then that'll give us plenty of room so we're not falling off of the edge of the cliff here. And then the worker should be able to kind of jump in here and tackle all of the straight rows while we go and get this other seeder moving. By then, the lime spreader should be far enough ahead of us, and hopefully we can get it going in field 2 here so that we can actually seed in the other field. You know the fields are big when you can't actually see the other tractor that's working in the same field as you. The view distance in FS19, not so great right now. I've actually got mine set quite a bit above the norm, and so the fact that I can't even see that lime spreader over there, these are just really big fields. And it looks like our GPS track is all set up here nicely. We scooted over just a little bit as we got going because the field was a little closer to the grass than I started off, so it looks like we should continue to line up here as we get going. And so that's going to make our jobs quite a bit easier on the up and down. And there we can just spot the lime spreader over there on the other end of this field. And so on this map where there's not a lot of trees and stuff, I might actually have to try and bump my view distance up just so we don't lose sight of the other equipment working in some of these other big fields as easily. I think that from a frame rate perspective, I'm not too worried about it. And it would just be nice to be able to see our equipment at a distance. Now we'll probably overlap a little bit here as we're following the contour of this headland, just because it'll drive me nuts if I miss a lot of bits. We'll try to be efficient, but I feel like if I was actually seeding this with something this big, I'd probably just overlap a little bits here as well. Not too worried about getting a little extra seed in a few spots here on the headlands, especially with a big air drill like this. I think we're going to go ahead and just straighten this edge out here with the GPS line, make our lives a little bit easier, and give the lime spreader just a little bit of a chance to get refilled and caught back up, get ahead of us a little bit. I'm not exactly sure how far it made it. I guess we could look at the precision farming map here real quick. You could see he's got, his couple of passes here. It looks like he was going to start coming back down on this side. So I think we're going to be working our way from this side over. And so I just want to get the GPS line squared away here to, make our lives a little bit easier with the hired worker here. We're going to pull this tractor way up here out of the way and let the lime spreader that's coming back get into position here so that we're not running into each other. I'm not sure I could have completed my turn and gotten back on the seeding path before he caught up to us anyway. Looks like he's figuring out where he left off there on the next pass over. So we're going to go ahead and get lined up on our GPS track here. And away we go. Well, luckily he drives a little bit faster than us and he's a little bit wider than us. But he does have to go and refill on a regular basis, so it's kind of a wash it looks like since we're pretty well caught up to him. I was kind of hoping he'd get moving a little bit faster so that we could get him over into field 2 about now and get the other seeder going, but we're not quite getting ahead of the game just yet. If we look at our pH map, I mean, it's not great, but it's not terrible, especially up here we've got a little bit more green. I'm tempted to actually maybe plant one of these fields without getting the lime spread ahead of time and do that lime spreading next year, just because you want to kind of keep everything moving here. You don't want all the equipment sitting around. And so maybe we're going to have to think about that here for a moment, and maybe we'll get the other seeder going and do field 3 while we wait for stuff to get caught up. We could plant field 3, maybe we'll do some barley in field 3 just to have a little bit of a mix. That way we're not just wheat and canola. I don't know that I've ever planted barley in FS, and so that would be a good change of pace. Now, I said I was going to let the worker do this, but we're kind of here and having a blast doing some seeding ourselves, so we're just going to keep running here on GPS for a little bit and keep an eye on this lime spreader. I'm kind of curious to see how far he gets, how many rounds he gets before he has to reload again. In fact, let's actually set the worker off on this job and jump over here into the lime spreader for a moment and just take a quick look and see how full he is. And so he made one full pass here, and we're already down on to the second pass, and he's above 50%. And so he should be able to finish this pass and then get a little bit more going, which will, give our seeder a bit to catch up. But I think he's just barely going to be keeping ahead of the seeder this whole time. So we might need to think about investing in a another lime spreader when it comes time to do lime again, or maybe call in some friends from the co-op to help us out here, because this is a job that takes a little bit of time, but we're knocking it out. We're keeping ahead of our one-seater here. And so while that runs, I think we are going to take a look here and put some barley into field 3. I think that I'm willing to take a little bit of a yield hit. You know, it's not going to be that much with lime. You know, it's not a significant impact on the yield when it's only a little bit low. It's not like our lime is sitting down at the bottom, so we're going to go ahead and do that because I want to both get this seeder going and make the best use of our time here. You never know when the weather's going to jump in and kind of send you for a loop. And so we're going to just see about putting a course together here. We're going to try and get 2 headland passes around. We've got 23 meters. And then this field is kind of weird. So as you can see, because it's kind of this, I don't know, L-shaped type thing, you're not going to have an optimal path. And so what I'm going to do is go ahead and set course play off to do the headlands. And then we're just going to catch up with this seeder again before we get to doing anything crazy with the actual rows. And we'll take over and run things from there. So we're going to do a quick turnaround on the field here and get all lined up with this start point. And we're going to see what kind of oomph this tractor has with this seeder. And hopefully this is going to work out for us. It looks like we're going at 6 miles an hour here. I'm trying to remember. Oh, that's just our turning speed. We're going up to 11 miles an hour. The Fendt is pulling just a little hard. We've got 9 to 10, and we should be able to go up to 11, I think. We're going to pop in here. I'm just curious to make sure that this seeder is rated like I think it is. It is rated at 11 miles an hour. And so we're dropping down because of the curves, the way I've got probably this course play set up. Yep, we need to bump some of these up a little bit here so that course play knows that it's allowed to go a little bit faster. There we go. And so, yeah, I mean, I think this is doing a decent job. We're, you know, hitting the top end working speed here on the flats. When we turn or hit a little bit of a hill, it seems to pull a little bit slower. And so, is this seeder oversized for this tractor? Probably a little bit. I will agree with that. But we're going to make do with it for the time being because this is the equipment we have. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. If this seems to be way underpowered as we get into some of the rest of the fields, we'll definitely look at making some changes next year. But I'm pretty happy with it right now. It seems to be working well. So with this seeder off to the races, I think we should probably jump back over and check on our other guy here in the Challenger. It looks like our lime spreader is getting a decent amount ahead of us here. And so we're doing pretty good. If we look at the precision farming map, we can see he's several passes ahead of us. Not quite to the halfway point, but the lime spreader will probably finish up here in field 5 and be able to get a good start on field 2 before we're done seeding up in field 3 with the other tractor. So I'm feeling pretty good about this decision. I don't think I'll have too many regrets in getting the seeder going over here in field 3. I think that was probably the right call. And so we're going to go ahead and just keep going on this. We're going to keep an eye on this Fendt, I think, for a little bit. I want to see that he's not going to run into any problems here. And as you can see with the super helpful course play message, he's there up at the refill point refilling. As we come past these bins, I think we can just see him back there getting some more lime filled up. So we've got everything rocking and rolling, and we're full into spring here. All right, so it looks like this Fendt's doing pretty good out here. Outside of, slowing down around the turns a little bit, just nature of taking a turn. we seem to be able to hit our top working speed pretty much everywhere in this field. I think I've only seen it dip down a couple miles an hour in a few spots where there's a little bit of a hill or a valley as it traverses some of those small terrain features, but not a big deal. I don't think it's going to cause us too much grief, so I think we're going to run with this. I'm not too worried about it. I think we're going to wrap up today's episode here, though. For those that are following the channel daily, I have been out for several days with a bit of a head cold, and so we're going to ease ourselves back into this and be back tomorrow with another new episode. That's all for today. Kedrick, out. Get seating here, but we're now in the way, so oh no, Courseplay, don't do this to me. Alright, we're gonna try and fold this up and get out of the way. It's always something with you, Courseplay. Auto drive would have waited for me to get out of the way.